it's very disheartening to know that the Bears, who at one point had a multiple-game winning streak going, now have lost 5 straight. Playoffs, you could forget about it. We're like Jim Moore. Playoffs?
Yeah,
no,
playoffs.
No playoffs. And, we lose another heartbreaker, ironically, partially due to our special teams, which has been disastrous these last few weeks.
Yeah.
27-30 loss against the Vikings. On paper, not a bad loss, given that the Vikings are 5 games above the Bears. This was a home game. This was a game that the Bears, I thought stayed competitive in throughout.
Yeah.
And, some last-minute heroics from the Bears. Almost got them there. Almost got them there. They gave us hope for a second, and then they took it away as fast as they gave it to us.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're talking about the last couple of minutes. We score, get the onside kick, which I believe we're one of only 2 onside kick recoveries this year, if I'm not mistaken.
With the new rules in place, too?
Yeah. With the, you can't, surprise onside. No.
Yep.
Caleb gets us down the field. We kick a field goal, which, by the way, was like this close to getting blocked. So we almost got blocked again for losing. But win the coin toss, go into overtime. Caleb takes the sack. Vikings just drive down the field. What were some of the key takeaways from this game from your perspective, Justin?
I mean, overall, I want to say, Caleb did good, but I'm sorry, 32 or 47. I mean, I feel like for me, I love that Caleb is trying his best to, carry the team, but it should not take 47 attempts unless it was what was it, the Rams Chiefs game a couple years ago when it was a crazy scoring game. So overall, I think for this one, Caleb did great. I think definitely the 47 pass attempts were a little much for me. No interceptions, 2 touchdowns, but I think the one thing that I do appreciate is that they did, continue to try at the end of the fourth quarter. I mean, they could have easily stopped and been like, you know what, we're just going to chill out and take the L. But, I mean, to even be able to, with no timeouts left, being able to move down the field efficiently, that gives me a glimmer of hope to be like, you know what, we can actually try to win games if we're a touchdown or 2 touchdowns away from it. So it's definitely there. But there were also some key drops as well. Cole Kmet.
Yeah,
that was a rough drop.
That was rough.
That was a rough drop, and
Keenan had a couple of drops earlier in the game as well.
Yeah,
I agree with you about Caleb, and I've been on record saying this, that Caleb is the most important part of this year.
Yes,
and I will point out that in 3 games in a row, the Vikings game, the Packers game, and the Commanders game, the Bears were down in the fourth quarter, and Caleb got us in position to win.
Yeah, he did.
Blocked kick against the Packers.
Yep.
Hail Mary. The Commanders got a Hail Mary against us. And then, he actually got us into overtime against the Vikings. So I will say, seeing him be so nails late in games and in the fourth quarter is very, very encouraging for me.
Yeah.
He played, I thought, a really good game. We talked about how difficult Brian Flores was against quarterbacks. 2 touchdowns, 340 yards. I agree with you. You make a great point. I think 47 passing attempts. Well, why did Caleb throw the ball so many times? It's because DeAndre Swift averaged 2.3 yards per carry.
Yes.
They could not run the ball. And so when you're in a position where, you have to throw the ball, Caleb is going to have to throw, this many times, you're probably not going to win because you're not a balanced offense. And, again, I think that speaks to the weakness of our offensive line. Speaking of rushing, though, Caleb, again this week, used his legs.
Yeah.
So he ran for another 33 yards. So if you think about it, Caleb had 370 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers against one of the best defenses in the NFL. To me, that is very encouraging.
Very much so.
But like we said, the rushing game was non-existent. I do like the distribution of the passing offense. DJ Moore, 100 yards, has to be one of the only times he's done that this year.
Yeah.
Had a touchdown. Keenan Allen got more involved as the game was going on. I saw Rome trying to get involved, 5 catches, 39 yards. But yeah, when you can't run the ball, you become just so one-dimensional.
Yeah.
But I think the key for this loss, though, was our defense.
Yeah.
Defense really let us down. And it's kind of one of those seasons where if it's not this, it's that, right? The defense was not very good. Now you look and you're like, oh, Justin Jefferson. You talked last week that one of the keys was stopping Justin Jefferson. Yeah, if I had told you that Justin Jefferson had 27 yards, we'd take that all day of the week.
Yeah.
Problem was, Jordan Addison had 162. T.J. Hockenson had 114.
Yep.
Aaron Jones ran for 106.
Right.
So by stopping Justin Jefferson, it opened up everybody. It opened up everybody else. So it was just disappointing on defense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, our third down defense, that was the most points they surrendered so far this season. And I think definitely, when you are wanting to gain momentum for your offense to come back on the field and to be able to dominate, you have to be able to stop the third downs, especially when it's a run play or let's say if it's like a 10-yard pass, something that can like demolish the confidence of your defense. Yeah. And it just kind of stinks. It kind of blows because I feel like definitely if we were able to complete those third downs and, make those stops, I think we would have won the game.
Well, and it's crazy, too, because there were so many, like, 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 11s. I mean, Nick Mullins came in for one play. It was 3rd and 14.
Crazy.
And he dumps it off to Aaron Jones for a first down. Like, I don't know why they were playing so soft. I don't know why the defense was playing so back and so conservative. That's the type of defense they should have played on the Hail Mary, Justin.
Yeah, right.
So
you mentioned
Matt Eberflus is not coaching these guys to the best of their ability right now. He's playing so off. In overtime, I mean, Sam Darnold was just marching down the field because guy was open. They had 10 yards of space. They were giving off cushion. Like, I just don't understand it. And, again, we've talked about it in Matt Eberflus. I think it's pretty set in stone at this point that Matt Eberflus will not survive into next year.
No, definitely not.
I don't think there's a chance the Bears make the playoffs.
No.
Even the funny thing is, even if you win out, even if you go 10-7, which would be insane.
It would be.
But even if you go 10-7, does that even get you in the playoffs in the NFC? Because the NFC is really good this year. So I don't know. It would be very interesting to see how that happens. There have been reports. The reliability is, I guess, suspicious, but there are reports that if the Bears go out and embarrass themselves on Thursday, Matt Eberflus might not make it, to December, which I think would be interesting. The Bears have never fired a head coach in their 100-year history mid-season. So it'd be very interesting. But, yeah, Vikings, they lose to the Bears. And honestly, like, it's sad to say, Justin, especially this early in the year, but every loss for the Bears I think is a good thing. And again, that's people will say, oh, that's a loser mentality. Oh, it is. It 100% is. But this is a loser franchise.
Yeah, it is.
And when you are in a position with the Bears where, I question their ability to make the right decisions, let's make it easier for them. Let's lose more games so Matt Eberflus has a higher likelihood of being fired. Let's lose more games so that we have better draft picks, so that some of the elite players can follow us in the draft, offensive linemen. And I don't know. This is not the Bears' year.
No.
This is not their year. And again, I'm encouraged because Caleb looks good, and I think that is the most important thing for this year. If it's between Caleb and Eberflus, I'm taking Caleb every day of the week, twice on Sundays.
Yeah.
But I think we're in a point where we have to kind of reassess some things. We need to accumulate more resources and hit the ground running in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think definitely before you win, you have to lose or you have to go through a struggle.
Yeah.
And I think this team is almost there, but I think definitely adding some key draft pieces, offensive linemen, hopefully, fingers crossed, and a better coach can take us really, really far. Not fall. It's not fall. It's winter, Justin. Really, really far.
It's technically still fall.
I mean, but this morning, it felt like winter.
Yeah.
It really did.
Well, sorry, no, go finish your thought.
No, you're good. I just, like I said, I think we're almost there. And I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but I really want to give credit to Thomas Brown. The offense wasn't stagnant for the second game. I mean, it seemed like every time Minnesota had a punch, we punch right back. And that's the thing, and that's like the positive thing that I want to hopefully continue to see from Thomas Brown. I definitely think there were some plays where I'm like, I don't know if we should do.
Yeah.
But it looked a lot better from the Shane Waldron abuse that we've been having for the past.
That's a great word.
Yeah, it has been abuse, dude. It's been, I mean, just watching it has been just god awful. So I'm glad.
And again, the continued development of Caleb Williams, the involvement of DJ Moore. This is back-to-back games where DJ Moore was a prominent member of our game plan, which seems so simplistic, yet Shane Waldron failed to comprehend that.
Yeah.
So I think I do agree. I think Thomas Brown has been doing a good job so far. And, this Bears team, you're right. I don't think we're that far.
No,
I
we're
think
not.
we are a couple offensive linemen, a new coach, and a few other players away from being a good team, legitimately a good team.
I agree.
Because the most important thing is I believe strongly, I believed it before the year, 12 weeks in, I believe it even more, we have our quarterback.
We do.
And that is something the Bears have never had. They've had good coaches, they've had great defenses, they've had good receivers and running backs. They've never had a good quarterback. And I think we finally have that. And that is the most important step in the NFL today.
Definitely. And before you continue, we got our comment in the live stream. Matt Kamer said, when are the Bears going to use Rome Odunze?
See, that's something where I kind of thought that they tried to use him a little bit more. I saw that they were a little bit out of rhythm.
They were, and I thought that DJ Moore touched. I mean, like I was halfway a fan until I saw how bad it was over. Yeah, and I'm just like, maybe we shouldn't have tried that. I get what they were trying to do. Yeah, but I definitely agree he should be. With I mean, I hope they use him more. He's a good player.
I would say this though, like when it comes to Rome, they definitely need to use him more for sure. But DJ Moore's the best wide receiver on the team. Yeah. So if you're gonna get the ball, if you're gonna scheme one guy open, if you're gonna, ideally you could scheme multiple guys open. But we're coming from Shane Waldron, so beggars can't be choosers. Yeah. If you're gonna scheme one guy open, it's gonna be DJ Moore. He's the best receiver on this team. Yeah. Additionally, I think maybe the Bears are kind of following the Seahawks philosophy of superstar receiver, DJ Moore. You have a veteran receiver, Tyler Lockett, Keenan Allen, and then you have the first-round rookie in Rome and JSN. Yeah. JSN last year, was behind Tyler Lockett in the depth chart. Yeah. And we're seeing this year they're kind of flip-flopping, right? JSN has become the Seahawks arguably their go-to option, where I think, last year he was the third option behind Tyler Lockett and DK. Yeah. I think the similar thing is going to happen to Rome next year, where he's going to kind of take away some of those snaps from Keenan. And I know Keenan might not be on the Bears next year. I'm not saying that he will. But I do think even if Keenan's there or if Rome will be there, I think he will kind of take some of those wide receiver 2 reps, maybe get more work in the slot, everything like that. So definitely. I do think they need to get Rome the ball more, but I mean, let's look at some of the other rookie receivers like Marvin Harrison. He's at like 500 yards right now. Like he's keeping pace with like Marvin Harrison. Definitely. Malik Neighbors is a little ahead of him, so I'm not worried about Rome, but I would like to see him a little bit more involved for sure. He's a different body type than DJ Moore. Yeah. So I think he's more of your X receiver. Definitely. But no, I agree. I would like to see Roman involved as well.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
All right, let's get into some of our questions, Justin. Question number 1. Was this Caleb's best game, and how is his progression going under Thomas Brown?
I would say so far, yes. I mean, do I like 47 pass attempts? No, unless it was like we were neck and neck and, he just had to go out there and dominate. But we had no run game, so he had to throw the ball. Yeah. Overall, I think each game we go through this season, Caleb just gets more and more confident. Yes. And I think it showed in the Packers game when they went for it on the 4th down, like, no, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to deliver. And we saw the same thing in the 4th quarter on Sunday. Yeah.
That throw he had to DJ.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Over the linebacker. Yep. Perfectly. Yeah, I call it like a 2-ball. It's like right over the linebacker, but perfectly drops in. Yeah. It was beautiful.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, like, I think so far this is his best game. And I'm saying that only looking at the schedule ahead. And, yes, we're going against Detroit on Thursday. Then we have a beat-up 49ers team that, I feel like we may not even be able to really touch because they still have good players on their team.
Yeah, 49ers are still good, unfortunately.
And what is it, Minnesota again, right?
Yeah, we got Green Bay, Minnesota again, 2 Detroits, San Francisco, and Seattle.
Yeah, this will be his best game. This will be his best game. It might be. Well, isn't one of those games at home though?
Seattle's at home. Okay. We have another game. One of the Detroit games is at home. So we have Seattle and Detroit at home. Green Bay's in Green Bay. Minnesota's in Minnesota. San Fran is in San Fran.
Yeah. So Seattle might be the next game where he might play well. He seems to play really well at home, but I don't know. I know. That's what I'm saying. Maybe. Good. Yeah. No, I mean, and I agree with you. Like, maybe. Just a strong maybe. But, yeah, I think this will be his best game of the season. I think from now on, it's like welcome to the gauntlet. Yeah. And, you just got to hope that he can, overcome adversity at this rate.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like, I think we've been saying this with a lot of the rookie quarterbacks. Jayden Daniels is a good example of this. Progress is not linear, right? So you don't go here and then you just keep getting better every week. There's ebbs and flows. Yeah. And I thought, first couple of weeks of the year he was down a little bit. Then he was up with the Jaguars and Panthers and Rams game. Then he kind of fell back down to earth in the Commanders game and everything. Since the Packers game, so since we fired Shane Waldron, he's been on that upward trajectory again.
Definitely.
I think, obviously you're not going to just go one direction.
No,
so I
not
do
at
expect him to go back to earth a little bit, but I do
Yeah.
expect him to bounce back as well. And I think that the key for him is just to become more confident in his ability to play quarterback.
Yeah.
Going through his reads, trusting his receivers. I think what is undisputable is his arm talent, his accuracy in the short and intermediate area. He's still, I think, learning the timing of those deep patterns.
Yeah.
But some of his throws across the middle, I mean, that's something that Justin Fields always struggled to do.
Right.
He wasn't able to attack the middle.
Yeah.
And when you talk to some of the best coaches in the NFL, the Shanahans, the McVays, the Andy Reids, they attack the middle of the field all the time.
Yeah, they do.
Right? So I think that's very encouraging for Caleb. Again, you want to see him hit more of the home run balls that he hasn't done necessarily. But I can't say that I'm upset with the way he's been playing. I think that he's been playing really good, especially now that he's using his legs.
Yes.
And he is a rookie. He's making rookie mistakes. The sack he took in overtime, that was his fault.
Yeah.
You can't dance around for 10 seconds.
No.
Brother, that's Jonathan Grenard. You're not going to just ballerina your way away from Jonathan Grenard. So
no, you're not.
That's one of those things where, he has to learn better. He has to learn to throw the ball away a little bit. Can't play hero ball all the time.
No, not at all.
But his raw ability, I think he's learning how to play quarterback at the NFL level. And I think that's such a positive step in his development.
I think so too.
Yeah. So I do think that this was his best game so far. We talked about Brian Flores, how much of a defensive guru he is, what he does to young quarterbacks with the simulated pressures and the disguised coverages and everything like that. And I mean, you saw Caleb put that ball into some of those really tight windows. I like the one that he threw to, I believe it was Keenan Allen on the right sideline. Andrew Van Ginkel, was kind of diving at it, and he missed it by like an inch or two. And Caleb just fired it in there. It was great. It's great to see a Bears quarterback make throws like that. So
103.1 passer rating too.
I'll take 103 passer rating. That is a very good day at the office, and especially for this Bears team whose defense has been good, for a while now. Scoring 27 points is going to win you a lot of games.
Yeah, it will.
It's going to win you a lot of games. So obviously, disappointing day from the defense.
Yeah.
But I don't think Caleb is to blame for this loss much at all. All right, and then I think for our last question. I'm going to change the wording of it a little bit.
Sure, go ahead.
I like what we said. So why do we keep losing games, I guess, is the question. But I guess the core to this would be, how do the Bears start winning games? Like, what's the problem, and then how do we fix the problem?
And it's funny because we find a new way to lose every single time.
Yes, we do.
And so one game, it could be the defense. Oh, the offense is struggling. This game, it was special teams.
Oh, special teams as well. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, for example, in the second half, was it a kick return and then the Vikings
punt return that hit Hardy?
And then the Vikings recovered it. I really thought it was over after that because I'm like, how do you
just gave him the ball?
You just gave him the ball, right back. So honestly, you just gotta. I don't even know. That's such a. I feel like it's a mixture of everything, but overall, it's confidence, right? I think definitely, when you have had pivotal losses, Hail Mary, block field goal, overtime loss. It just does something to you.
Yeah.
And it's not like, this is just one game. This is like the third or fourth game in a row where this has happened. So of course, if you're a team coming in. Yes, your mindset is to go out there and win every single time. But in the back of your mind, I sat there and I watched overtime,
Yeah, I felt the same way because the game was, and this is how I know that the Bears have a structural problem, is because late in that game, I was sitting there and I was like, Bears are not going to win this game.
Yeah, I wasn't confident in them at all.
And then Caleb, to his credit, play after play after play after play, they got the onside, which was incredible. And I was just, even when we won the toss in overtime, I was sitting there and I was like, we're not going to win this game.
Yeah, I just wasn't confident. Until the clock said 0-0 and the final pulled up on the scoreboard ticker, I didn't feel like, man, they're really going to sit up here and go from start to finish.
And that's what separates the good teams from the bad teams. Because if this was the Chiefs playing the Vikings late in the game, everybody and their mom would say, oh, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is going to win this game.
Yeah, because he's proven that before.
Exactly. Josh Allen going to win this game. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the
Geno
Chiefs
Smith,
almost
just
lost to
kidding.
the Panthers, right? I mean, the Chiefs almost lost to the Panthers, and nobody had a doubt in their mind that the Chiefs wouldn't win.
Yeah.
You know?
Everybody's thought was, oh, wow, Bryce Young's playing pretty good.
Yeah,
He's keeping
right?
it close.
He's keeping
but
it
the
close.
Chiefs are going to win.
Yeah, but the Chiefs are going to win. And what did
Exactly.
you say? Never bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Never bet against Patrick Mahomes. No.
Yeah, crazy.
But yeah, that's the thing. And it's funny because earlier in the year, special teams, I mean, they won us the first game against Tennessee with the blocked punt field goal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, blocked punt and touchdown. Turns out maybe Tennessee's got the worst special teams unit ever.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Ooh, I do not envy Brian Callahan right now. But no, you're right. Confidence, and I think that stems from coaching as well. Like, it's the same problem. It's the same thing with Matt Eberflus.
Yep.
Richard Hightower, the special teams coordinator. I mean, almost 3 times. We saw it twice in a row. Last week against Green Bay, then the start of the game against the Vikings. The field goal was blocked from the same spot on the defensive line, same position.
Yeah.
And going and kicking the game winner to go into overtime, it almost happened again.
Crazy.
That field goal was a little bit longer, and he had to get a little bit, lower trajectory. That probably would have been blocked, and we probably would have had 3 blocks in 2 games.
Yep.
Both would have lost us the game. So it's quite disgusting. All right, Justin, let's get into the fun part.
Oh, boy.
Thursday is Thanksgiving, and there's a lot to be grateful for on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Spend time with your family.
Yeah.
Eat some good food. One of the things to be grateful for, however, is not Chicago Bears football.
No,
They
not
play.
at all.
They play the early game on Thanksgiving. They play against the Detroit Lions, and oh my God,